Hi, I'm Asher from Warmer Jobs. While your connections are exporting, I want to walk you through what's coming next and how to make the most out of the tool. I also have a video on misconceptions that people have about how and when to reach out after they've completed a search. I'll link to that in the description. If you ever want to reference either of these videos, you can always visit the help and support section on the left. The first thing you're going to see is the basic filters page. But before I walk through it, I want to show you how Warmer Jobs works on the back end so you can see how each filter fits in. Once LinkedIn finishes exporting your connections, you're going to end up with the CSV that looks something like this. Warmer Jobs is going to go company by company for each of your connections, find the career site for that company, and then search for the target role that you choose. So for example, it's actually going to the DoorDash career site and then typing in the input field the target role that you chose. So for example, if you had chosen software engineer, it would actually type out software engineer and then pull from the results that show up. So each of these results would show up in the final sheet that you get. What Warmer Jobs isn't doing is using an intermediary job marketplace like LinkedIn or Indeed or Dice or a number of others that you might have heard about. Instead, it's treating the company career site itself as the source of truth because companies don't always post jobs to those other platforms. We're going right to the source so you can find as many jobs as possible. Really, it's automating the things that you'd be doing manually yourself if you wanted to go to each of these company sites. It's just that we've written a lot of custom code and scrapers to do it for you. So how do these filters actually fit into your search? Well, when you choose a target role like software engineer, this is what's actually going into that input field on the site, like we saw with DoorDash. In most cases, you can just choose the role that fits what you know you want to search for. Warmer Jobs also has logic to pull in jobs that aren't exactly what you searched. So for example, if you're searching software engineer, it'll also pull in titles like front-end engineer, back-end engineer, software developer, JavaScript engineer, and that kind of thing. The same goes for customer success. It'll also pull in client success, client management, account manager, all those sorts of jobs. There is one exception to this rule. Warmer Jobs has run hundreds of searches at this point, and for whatever reason, if you're looking for sales or marketing leadership roles, you should choose sales leader or marketing leader as your target role. This tends to lead to more results specifically for those leadership roles. If you're looking for a head of product role, it's fine to put product manager, or if you're looking for a VP of software engineering role, it's fine to put software engineer. It's just for sales and marketing that for whatever reason we find better results here. After that, you can choose your seniority level. So if you're looking, for example, for senior or staff software engineer roles, you should choose senior. Or if you're looking for head of or VP roles or senior manager roles or director roles, all of those right now get lumped into this director or VP seniority so that in your final search, you'll only see the results that show up for that seniority. This is meant to save you time, and it'll find 90% of the jobs with the seniority that you're looking for. But there's always going to be some weird job titles like product czar or JavaScript ninja, things like that. So you can always choose any as the seniority level to see all the jobs that show up for a target role, and then whittle things down later. Now, when it comes to remote jobs and locations, there's a couple places people get tripped up. So if you're just looking for remote jobs, you can choose the remote only option, and it will find you jobs based anywhere in the world that are remote. If you want to look for jobs that are either remote or in-person in particular cities, then you can choose this remote and hybrid in-person option. Now what this will do is let you choose certain cities, let's say San Francisco and New York, but it's still going to pull in remote jobs for companies that are based outside of San Francisco and New York too. The last tricky piece for people here is this anywhere worldwide option, which is pulling in in-person jobs from anywhere in the world. So if you want remote jobs from anywhere, just choose the remote only option. But if you want to see all the jobs anywhere in the world anyway, then choose anywhere worldwide. After you save your basic search filters, you'll see some advanced filters. The first is the company names that you want to exclude. People often put the names of their employer or companies they know they don't want to work for here. You can also exclude job titles that include certain words. So for example, if you want product management roles, but you don't want product security roles, because those are more security focused than product management focused, you might type in the word security. If you're looking for remote jobs, you might want to restrict it just to the US and Canada. And some people like to see all the jobs in the Warmer Jobs network, even if they're not personally connected. Just remember that another Warmer Jobs user has the in and you don't. After that, you're going to see the connectors screen. Connectors are people who would open their network to you to get a job through people they know. You can copy this link to send to them so they can upload their connections just like you did. Then, in the search results that you get, you'll see connections showing up through them. So for example, a Warmer Jobs user got interviews because his wife uploaded her connections and he was able to reach out to people that she knew. So in the final search results, you'll see the people you know directly, like Sam Gould, show up without the word through, and the folks you know through your connectors will show up with this word through there. Now I want to call out the difference between removing a connection and making them inactive. So right now the way this is set up is, on my next search, I would be looking for jobs through Hugh Kitchens' connections, but not Nick Harris's, Shiva Riker's, or Gail Lundy's. If I wanted to look for Nick Harris instead, I could deactivate Hugh and then activate Nick. And if you try to activate more connectors than are allowed on your plan, you'll see an error message at the top. If you remove a connector, it means that you never want to search them again. So in most cases, I recommend don't remove connectors, just keep them there and mark them as inactive. And you can always change who you search through on your next search. I also want to add, this is totally optional. So if you don't know people who would be good connectors for you, you can just skip this step and click Continue Setup, and there's no harm. Next, you're going to upload your connections. The main place that people get tripped up here is they try to upload a zip file when they should be uploading the CSV. So there's one extra step that you have to do in between. If you're on a Mac, all you have to do is double-click the zip file, and it should automatically export to this connections file for you. If you're on a Windows, there should be a way to right-click on it and then click Extract All. After that, you'll have to verify your email address, and then you'll end up on the dashboard. Before you run a search, I recommend you do a few launch checks. First, click the target job role, or click on Basic Filters on the left. Make sure it's what you want, that it's the right seniority level, and that the locations are what you want. If you're on the Starter or Pro plan, you can choose multiple target roles to search, and Warmer Jobs will automatically cycle between them. So for example, if I didn't just want product management jobs, but I also wanted customer success, I could type it in here. Then, after you save it, you'll see a new page pop up on the left called Change Search Order. So if I want to search for customer success roles next, I might move that above product manager. Then you can click Save Order. You can also get to that screen from the Basic Filters page once you've saved multiple job titles, and it'll be in the Set Your Search Order link here. The last thing to check is your connections. So if there are people that you know you don't want to ask for introductions for jobs, you could ignore them here. So for example, if I don't know Bill Gates, maybe I would ignore him here. I strongly recommend you don't ignore people, even if you forget how you know them. I'll cover this more in my next video, but there's best practices and language that you can use even when you forget how you know someone, that still maximize your chances of landing an interview. And after that, you're good to go. Click the big button on the bottom and start your search. While your search is running, you can always navigate away from the page. The search will run in the background, and you'll get an email with the results once it's done. You can also access your results from the dashboard once it's done by clicking the link, or clicking on Last Search Results on the left. And when you click the link, you'll end up at a page that looks something like this. The freshest jobs float to the top based on the date that they were created or updated. You might know, if you've been job searching, that the sooner you reach out after a job post goes up, the more likely you are to hear back and get an interview. Warmer Jobs does its best to find this date, but it can't always find it. So you'll see some jobs lower down that don't have a date on them, but they might be diamonds in the rough. Below the freshest jobs section, you'll see the matching locations, and then remote jobs, and then a section with jobs where the tool couldn't figure out the location. And that's another good place to find diamonds in the rough. Within each posting, you'll see the name of the company, the job title with a link to the job post. And if you click it, you'll see it. The location, the date that it was created or updated, and then all of your contacts at that company. So when you reach out, pick the person who you know best or who seems closest to the job role that you want. In this case, if I'm looking for a principal product manager job at Handshake, I might reach out to Matt Greenberg, the Senior Director of Product, rather than Garrett Lord, who's the CEO. Once you know who you're going to reach out to, don't reach out yet. I mentioned I have another video on the best ways to reach out to maximize your chances of landing the interview. That's linked in the description, and I strongly recommend you watch that either after you finish watching this video or at least after you've run your first search. After you run your search, it's a good time to go through and update your advanced filters too. So if you're seeing weird job titles pop up or weird company names, you can exclude them here. You can also set how recent a fresh job is. Some people like to see just jobs that were posted or updated in the last 2 days rather than in the last week. You can also hide jobs that you've seen before in future searches, which means that all the jobs you found in your last search will stay in that tab on the spreadsheet. New searches won't have those jobs. Lastly, I want to walk through pricing. When you join Warmer Jobs, we comp you a free light bundle. What that means is you can run 2 light searches, which don't do the in-depth type of searching that I showed you before in the DoorDash example, but it covers maybe 5 to 20% of the total pool of companies. This should be enough to give you a taste and let you reach out to some connections, but it won't be the full thing. Once you're on the starter or pro plan, we will comprehensively search sites the way that you saw. What I recommend is run your first search, tweak some of the filters and settings afterwards based on what pops up, and then run another search. Then you'll have a feel for the sort of jobs that are popping up, which let you run better searches in the future. Once you're on the starter or pro plan, Warmer Jobs will automatically search for you every day or every 2 days, and you'll get them emailed to you. If you ever want to buy more light searches, you can always just press the button here. And that's pretty much it. If your connections aren't done exporting, this is a great chance to watch my next video on how to reach out to connections once you've run your search. It'll save you some time and you'll get used to all the concepts now while you have the time.